Hello Tumblr. It's been a while since I did one of these, but I got the anon that I've posted above. Don't know why I'm looking up, it's not up there. And they wanted to know if I could share any words of wisdom from Hillary. Now the thing to say in this situation is my interaction with her was minuscule. It literally lasted probably about 15 seconds. It was a work thing, but it did impact me and I wanted to share how and why. So this is the story of how I accidentally met Hillary Clinton in basically my pyjamas and then started to pull my socks up. So what happened was we weren't supposed to be meeting her. We were told we wouldn't be, that there wasn't time in the schedule and that she wouldn't be able to come into the office. And then our CEO sent a memo at about 10 in the morning the following day and said, get yourselves to Waterstones Piccadilly in the next half hour and you can meet her. So I ran. Arrived there sweaty, dishevelled. It was laundry day. I thought I was just going to be filing all day, so I was wearing a ratty tank top, jeans and Ugg boots, which is an ensemble. And what you have to also remember is that in the UK our company is very casual. I would wear this to work, for example, whereas in the US we're very corporate. Anyway, so we're lining up. She's sat behind a table, seeing the last members of the public. Laughing with a lady in a wheelchair who she made a real effort to make comfortable, which was just nice to see because not all authors actually are particularly nice humans. Many of them are, but some aren't. And invariably a scuffle broke out over who was going to go first. And despite my dishevelled appearance, I was like, sod it, everyone's being lame, so I will go. So I strolled over pretending to be really confident, which of course I wasn't really, and held up my hand, which she shook firmly, made direct eye contact, and I said, hi, I'm Rose, I work for SNS in the UK, and it's such an honour to meet you. And she said, oh, you do? Like, as in, like, surprised, because I don't think they told her that we were from the company. So, and she kind of gave me a quick perusal and asked me how long I'd been working there and if I liked it. And I said that I'd been there for a couple of years and that it was hard, but that I was, doing well for myself. And she congratulated me and wished me luck and thanked me for coming. And I went on my way. And that was the be all and end all. And so in terms of direct words of wisdom that I can share, there's nothing especially meaningful. But the impact it had on me, which I feel like could be helpful at a shitty time like now is that you never know what's coming. Whether it's, getting to meet someone you don't expect to meet and being in your rattiest clothes, but then having them, and I think what was nice is that although she gave me a once over, it, the questions she followed up with were about me as a person, and I didn't feel like she was looking at me and going, my God, why are you wearing that? I felt like she looked at me and went, okay, it's a young woman who is clearly really nervous and wasn't, necessarily prepared for this. And what she chose to say to me was encouraging and uplifting. And I feel like what I can draw from that, and did draw from that, is that I never went into work so scruffily dressed ever again. Not because it necessarily mattered on that occasion, but because I realised that I wasn't presenting myself on that day in my best light because I had basically couldn't be bothered because I didn't think it was important. And you never know what day are going to be important. And, wardrobe is a very superficial thing. But from that day forward, I have always dressed better for work. And I have felt often the more prepared and the more accomplished as a result of it. And I feel like that's something that can be applied and sort of inflated to cover a multitude of, more situations, in as much as often the unexpected happens, whether it's what happened to me, which was tiny in the scale of things, or what happened to her this week, which is fairly catastrophic. Somebody who has spent their life preparing for something, being of service, doing their best, being taken down by somebody who's only ever really served themselves and isn't prepared and doesn't appear to care. But that at the end of the day, the best we can do is be prepared and go into a situation with good intentions and with positive energy, and try and influence the people that we meet for good and to bring out the best in themselves, rather than focusing on the negatives or dismissing them because we don't consider them important enough. And so my takeaway from my meeting with Hillary Clinton was that she was a very impressive human, that she was a very intuitive and positive person, and that I would try and be more like her. I tweeted on that day, "Be more Hillary," which at that moment to me meant, be more assertive, be more prepared, be more powerful. And I guess that's a lesson we can all learn going forward. I very much doubt that she's going to be, taking up wearing pyjamas and lying around and not doing anything. I suspect we will see a lot more of her in whatever guise she chooses, fighting onwards. And I guess that's what we can do, which is look at the situation at face value, prepare ourselves as best we can, arm ourselves as best we can with information and with opinion and with the fire of knowing what's right, and move onwards so that when an opportunity arises, or when an opportunity is created, that we are poised to take it on and to do so as our best selves. And that rambling, long-winded story about me and my pyjamas is my takeaway, which is probably not exactly the words of wisdom from Hillary you were hoping for, but hopefully made you some good.